Hello everyone! So this is Miss Alex and it's our last week for the summer reading program this year. Thank you everyone who participated. With this last program event, I would like to go down kind of a different avenue with it. As we know, this year's theme is Imagine Your Story, and many of you know that I'm very interested in makeup, and so per the request of many, we're going to be doing along the lines of cosplay, but it's going to be kind of a fantasy take on makeup because you can tell your story with the makeup that you wear every day. You know, whether it be cosplay makeup or you just want to go kind of crazy or you don't want to wear any makeup at all. You do you, you tell your story however you want to do it, but your face can be another canvas as well. And so I'd like to kind of jump into that and just show you guys ways that you can use your face as a canvas and show people who you are and not be afraid of it. So let's dive into it and we'll go through all the products that I'm using, kind of the techniques that we're going to be using for today, and then I'd love for you guys when we're done to post your pictures. Take it your own way if you want to, go beyond what we do today and just let me see what you guys have done. I would love to see that. So let's get started. Alright, your face is clean. You have, taken off all your old makeup if you have some on. Maybe you just woke up in the morning and we kind of have that like sleepy grunge on our face. We're going to wash our face. We're going to make sure that it's clean. I will acknowledge it's a little bit of a longer process, so you might need to get your tea or your Sonic drink because we're going to be here for a little bit. So what I want to first start off with, after you've cleaned your face, you've put on your moisturizer, your serums, whatever you do, whatever your beauty regime is in the morning, do all of that. And now that we've done all that, our face is dry, it's ready to go, we are going to go with a primer. It's really important to use a primer just because for someone like me, I have a lot of really deep pores and I get oily skin all day long, so I really need to kind of set that base and make sure that my makeup is there to stay. You can do ones like this. This is a Neutrogena. Most of the products we're going to use today are going to be from Walmart. A few of them won't, but you can get a very similar dupe from Walmart. Don't be afraid to go to the drugstore to do things because most of us have to go there. But if you want to go to Ulta or Sephora, I mean, I love it too. It's kind of my oasis. But so this one is called the Neutrogena It Matters Mattifying Primer Stick, and it's just a stick, kind of like a foundation stick, and it's just, it's not liquid. So what you're going to do, if you use a liquid primer, that's perfectly fine. Use what works for your skin. I advise testing out many different primers over, however long you want to, and just seeing what works for you, because we're all different. Some of the things that I use today won't work for you, whether they just won't work for your skin type or whether, you might be allergic to them. So just use what works for you, and I guarantee you can get a very similar, if not better, because I am not a makeup artist. I do this for fun. So use what you want. So we're gonna start with the primer. And I'm just gonna reiterate this all day long. Not a makeup artist. I do it how I want. Do I watch like 1,000 makeup videos a day? Sometimes yes, because I find it satisfying. So I kind of just put it all over my face. Make sure you've washed your hands. That's very important. Wash your hands before you do any of this because we're gonna be touching our face. And right now during this time, it's not safe to touch your face if you have not properly washed your hands. So please do so before you do any of this. So we've washed our hands, they're clean, and now we're gonna rub in our primer. So what it does is it creates a nice smooth finish. Unfortunately, we don't have high definition cameras, so you can't see my smooth finish, but I guarantee you it's there. And so we've created that smooth finish so that I kind of had a better palette to work with. Once we've kind of got it in all those crevices, I'm getting older, and so there are more. I have a little mirror in front of me, so occasionally I just need to go down to it. Alright, so once you've got it all rubbed in, we are going to start. Now, this is how I do it. I honestly, I do it differently each time. Just depends on the makeup look that I'm going for, how much product am I going to use, what kind of product is it? Is it a powdery product versus kind of a liquid product versus a more just matte product that will just stay there? But something that I wanted to do is to teach you guys so many of us know that when the makeup artists do their look, it comes around and it kind of peaks out here, and then you've got that under eye thing. I used to not be able to get that defined line down well, and it would really kind of get to me that mine didn't look as good as theirs, which now I'm older and I realize it's mine. I'm gonna own it the way that I do it. But if you would like a more defined look, tape is your best friend. Make sure your face is clean, make sure your face is dry. My stuff that I just put on, a big reason why I use it, again, very oily skin, is because it goes on and it like soaks into my skin, so there's no product there to pull away. So we can use tape. What I'm gonna do is I'll use tape on one eye and I'll not use tape on this eye, just so you guys can kind of see the difference there. So very obviously, one of these eyes are gonna be very defined, and the other one is gonna be still really good, but not as structured, and that is perfectly fine. But this is super cheap. Any tape out there, you can get the makeup tape if you want it, but you don't need it. So let's begin. All right. I like to go with my crease. So right there with the very crease of my eye, I like to go up and out like this. Now, if you want more of a vibrant, you know, eccentric eye, you could go up even further. The angle is completely up to you and what you're comfortable with. And yeah, it's gonna look weird. All right, so once you've kind of made sure that your tape is there, it's okay if it feels a little weird right here. If you want to, sometimes I like to fold it over. It's completely up to you. I've kind of grown adjusted to it. Like, it's gonna sit there and it's gonna feel weird to me. But you do you. Do whatever you want. All right. So, first and foremost, again, a primer. You can get an eyeshadow primer if you want. There are tons of different brands out there. Honestly, the best thing that I have found is using a very strong concealer, because what you want is kind of that sticky consistency to really, one, give you a clean base. I have a lot of veins in my eyes, lots of veins, lots of discoloration, and they get really oily. That's why I put primer on my eyelids. But another way to ensure that I really keep the oil at bay and that I just keep looking at this tape and that my look's gonna stay there long term, or at least as long as possible, is I use e.l.f. 16-hour camo concealer. If you are a makeup dupe person, you know that this is the real deal. They have this in waterproof as well. Personally, I got one that's too light for my skin tone. Also, if you're gonna use this, prepare to be like glass baby doll smooth, okay? Because it works. Another thing is, when you put it on, if you're gonna use it on your face as a concealer, I would recommend put it on the part that you want to do and immediately start blending it in. It dries quite fast. So it's not one of those things where you want to put it on, kind of let it sit there and then rub it in, because you're gonna see the outline of where it was dried a little bit. So let's put it on quite fast. But we're gonna do, you can use a primer if you want. I just prefer a concealer. And it's gonna be lighter than my skin color, but that's perfectly fine, because I'm gonna use all of that space to do today's look. So let's begin. I went and I had one. I don't feel like it did a good enough job, so I went and I got this one. I have personally not used this palette, but I've used many palettes by this company. I'm not positive if it's NYX or NYX. Who knows? We're gonna say what we want. So I have used many palettes by this company. I love it. As far as a comparable dupe, this is affordable and this is a good job. The pigment is great, the consistency is great, it does a good job. Look at that, and I know you can kind of see like there's some glitter in there. Some of them are just the basic color tones, but some of them actually have a glitter in it as well. So we're gonna use this today. So we're gonna get our brush, and I'll lift this up for you guys. So we're gonna do this purple color today. I like to go in and tap tap. You can go in and brush like this, sometimes depending on the palette. I like to tap my brush off too. You don't want to have too much product because then it's going to get all over your face. But depending on the palette, some of them are really powdery and they'll go onto your other eyeshadows. You're going to lose a lot more product. So I just tap on it. Just tap the brush. Just tap, 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 tap. And then we're going to tap some of the product off of it. If you want to blow it off a little bit, do it lightly. You don't want to blow too much off. And we're going to dive in. So let's go, guys. Alright, so we're going to go to that crease, and again, not a professional makeup artist, but I like to tap it on first. So tap your outline, alright? If you want, close your eyes, or open your eyes. See where your crease is at. Do you have a more hooded look? Do you need to go higher up on your eyelid? Do that, okay? This is more for a shadow effect. So if you've got a really hooded eye, and you need to go higher on your eyelid up here, do what you need to do in order for you to see it. So I like to put on my outline first, so I just dab in the corner, and then I open my eye and I go, okay, this is where it's setting, and now I'm going to dab the rest of it. So we're going to stretch out our eyes, and you're going to go along that crease line, okay? We're going to go to about right here. We're going to just dab it on and bring it over to that crease line. And if you want to, once you get it on, I'm gonna go back for a little bit more, we're gonna start swirling it around. This is the importance of the loose brush, okay? We're gonna start swirling it in. I like to bring it in and do kind of a V right here. So as you can see, I've created that bottom line for myself. If I do too much over blending, sometimes I do happen to go down a little bit. That's a really simple cleanup. Get some makeup remover, use a Q-tip, clean that line up yourself. Don't be afraid to do that. Everyone makes mistakes when they do this. Sometimes it's not mistakes. Sometimes these turn into beautiful works of art and you just go with it. Alright, so I feel like I like where they are on both eyes. My eyebrows are also different, so like this one, as you can see, like there's this little like high lift, and this one comes down more. So work with them. Alright, now using that same brush, we're going to take our brush, we're going to use a paper towel or a rag, wherever you want to do. I like to clean off my brush a little bit. If you're working with a brush that you use every day and you've used it on other products, you might have to wash the brush before you do this stuff. Because I just washed my brushes last night. All of them are new, they're clean. So me simply cleaning it off on a paper towel is going to get it off enough to where I don't see the many other colors that I've used on it. Alright, now we're going to go in with a lighter purple color, alright? So this is a very nice light purple color, just a beautiful, cleaned our brush off now, and we're just tap, tap, tap it into that, getting as much as you think you need. Some people, depending on the brands that you use, will get to use less product. Some people you'll have to use a little more product. That's fine. We're having fun with it. Alright, now we're going to come in, leave it just above that line, and I mean directly on it. So right here, you would literally go directly on that line. So you say, well, you're going on the makeup. Yeah, I'm going on that makeup line. Because you're going to go directly on it, and you're going to start with these very small swirls, very light hand, and we're going to blend that line in. So we're going to be putting our light purple on top of it, and we're going to blend it in. That way it looks a very nice transitional look from a deep dark purple into a lighter purple, okay? That gradually fades out if you have enough eyelid. I always use all my eyelid. But if you have enough eyelid, a lot of times it'll fade out right into your skin tone. That's a primo job. Good job on that. So I'm gonna stand up a little bit so you guys can see the differences, okay? So on this one, it's all been blended out. You can see my pimple. All right, it's all been blended out. You know, it's nice, it fades up. This is a very defined line. So this is where I've just done my crease. I blended it out a little bit, but I've still got that very defined line. This is, I added a light purple on top of it and slowly swirled it in. And later on, I'll add some darker purple down here, and you'll see that it's just a nice transition, and that's what we're going for, okay? So what I'm gonna do is my base is gonna be this nice, beautiful, vibrant pink right here. Just your everyday pink. This one doesn't have any glitter into it, and again, I like intense. So a palette that I got using a makeup service called Ipsy is called Party Animal by Laura Lee. It's messy. It's messy because it's mine. I've had it for several months, if not a year. Whoa! This is what I'm talking about. This is a very, very vibrant palette. You're gonna put this on. It's gonna stay on forever. So, it's not gonna stay on forever, but still. So, one that I'm gonna use, and they all have these very funny names. It's called Bottoms Up. And it is a very, 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 very bright pink with a lot of glitter in it. So I'm gonna lay my base color down first, and then on top I'll put the glitter. Right. What we're gonna do first is, so this has dried, as you can see. Or nice. If I do this, you don't have to do this. If you don't get really oily in the day, skip this part, immediately put on the eyeshadow, that's the base and the top color. Mine, again, gets really oily, and a lot of my makeup likes to fade away. And so I go again. So this is my base. I keep layering until this look really stays as long as I want it to. So I open up my Camos concealer again. I just get the teeniest dab. Dab right there. Dab right there. We're gonna close this back up. You can go in with a brush. You can go in with the point of this. But often, the best tool, the cheapest tool, the most accessible tool is your finger. I've got a lot of the product here because this is where I want the product to stay. I'm fading it out over here. I'm barely putting any product over here because we're gonna do a lot of shading. Now, we're gonna go in with the brush like this. Yes, I have already cleaned this brush. It's stained pink because I use it on most of my pink things. So this is just a typical brush. You can go in, I like to go in with the ones that are angled. So as you can see, I don't know if you can see, this one's kind of angled down and to a point. That's really going to help you get in the corner over here and then fan it out. I like to use still a bit of a looser one, but if you want to use a more compact one for this one, that's still perfectly fine. You can be a bit more relaxed on this one. It's really the crease one that's very essential that you get a nice loose one, not too loose. But for this one, any will do the job, honestly. So we're going to get that pink one. And since we are going to use a lot of this, I put it in there and then I rub it around a little bit. Because I do want more on this one because I want a nice, vibrant color. And we didn't do a setting powder, you'll notice this time. Since this time, our setting powder is the base color. So we're going to go into that corner, up to that concealer crease line if you did it. If not, go up to your crease line. That crease line right here, and I'm spreading it out, but it's going to be lighter over here because we're going to fade into that. So keep a lot of the vibrancy, a lot of your, say you just got some makeup on your brush, you're going to pat it on right there because that's where you want the vibrancy to be, and then we're going to fade it out over here. Just fade it out. See? I've gone right up to my makeup line, if not directly on top of it, and so it's still very defined versus this one which is more blended in. So if this is more your look, take it. So now that we've done that, I do want to come back in with our powder just because, again, it's really good to kind of give it that place to sit in, and this is technically called baking. So you're gonna get some powder. We're gonna really put it in those areas on your face that really get oily. So mine likes to get oily on the chin right here. Sometimes I even go under directly right here. I'll come in and I'll do directly under that eye because I have some wrinkles under my eyelids, and if I don't put it directly on there after I've done this, my concealer will crease. And I don't want that. So I put my setting powder directly right there. I'm going to put it right into my nose creases. I will build oil all through there. And yeah, you're going to start looking weird, but it's fine. It's fun. Yeah, this is what it looks like now. Okay. So we're going to let that sit for a little bit. Sometimes I let it sit and I'll brush my teeth. I'll fix my hair, but you do want it to sit for a little bit, just so we can make sure that your skin has time to really soak up all the oilier areas, really soak up that powder, and it kind of gives you that more matte finish that we're really going for. So let's just sit here for a little bit, and then we'll come back and get started on the rest of it. Alright, so now we've let that sit there for a while. It's really soaked into our skin, so we are going to rub it out. Not hard. We're just rubbing it nice and soft. I like to do big swirling motions. And you're like, I look really white. It's fine. We're gonna clean off a little bit. We're gonna get our smudging brush, or just a nice loose brush. We're gonna go to our purple color, our deep purple color. Blow it off, tap it off, whatever you want to do. And we're gonna go underneath. We're gonna go right to that end of that eye, and we're gonna blend it all the way over, almost to the end over here. And also, you can use a blending brush. I wish I brought a second one with me. I like to use a clean one at the end and just really blend out that defined line, but you can also use your fingers. We are going to come in with a smidge of bronzer. So I use a really big loose brush for this. I'm also going to use a little bit, this is actually a contouring brush. You're going to take your contouring palette, get whatever, or bronzer palette, mine actually is a contouring palette, but you're going to get your bronzer, you're just going to get a little bit on it. I like to really start right here, because this looks going to be a little different, and I really just want to bring more of a defined moment to that cheek right there. So we're going to go right here. Not going to go too high. We're just nice circles. Just giving, can you kind of see that defined cheekbone right there? We're going to do that to this side as well. Congratulations, you've done some contouring. You can do it with a cream. A lot of people like to go cream and then powder on top of it. Really kind of your preference. We are also going to come in with a blush. So this blush is going to be a bit more blushy just because of the look we're going for today, the fantasy look we're going for today. I don't typically do this much blush or do this pink of a blush, but it's kind of fun. So I've actually never used this one. It's called Sweet Cheeks Matte. By NYX or NYX or whatever you call it. It's a creamy powder blush. Generally, I do more of a blended one. I do tend to have more olive tone and into my skin, and so I don't go too peachy, but this look kind of requires it. So we're gonna go, you can use a cream one if you want, but just because we've done so many cream things so far and we've really got our setting powder in there, I would prefer if we did kind of a loose powder one. So we're gonna come in. This one might require me to swirl it around a bit. Alright. You can smile if you want, but you know I'm talking about those little apples right there. We're gonna get those guys really good. So we contoured right here, but we're putting our blush right here. So contour, bronzer, blush right here. All right, now if you're seeing yourself and you're like, oh my gosh, I'm so pink, that's fine. All right. Now I am gonna come in with some highlighters. So I'm gonna do highlighter now, and I'm also gonna do some layers to perfect it. One of my favorite highlighters, and plus it matches this the look we're going for, is this Wet n Wild highlighting powder. It's like a shimmery purple. I love it. Sometimes I use it for eyeshadow because it's so pretty. So I come in here with a nice loose brush, and we're gonna put that right on top of those cheekbones, and we're gonna nice and loosely spread it out. We're gonna highlight these areas right here. I go right up to my eyeshadow line. I blend it in with that, okay? And this is a very loose brush. I want to say, yeah, it's Eco Tool, so you can get this at Walmart. It's just a very loose brush. All right, so now we're gonna go into the little ball of our nose, and we're gonna get that guy nice and glistening, kind of like a little fairy. I also have bigger lips, so I like to come to the Cupid's area right here and just a Cupid's bow. I don't really know. Is that the name of it? It is now. We're gonna brush that on. I like to brush some just on all the areas that you want to highlight. I'll put a little bit up top too, right in this little V right here. So that's my purple one, but I'm also gonna come in. This one's expensive. I got it in a makeup box. Called Purple Dream Diamond Glow Powder. It's fantastic. I don't use it all that often just because it's super potent. It's in a powder. I like to tap it on. But this one, if you're wanting a really good highlighter that goes on and it just freaking glistens from afar, you can see it from across the room. This Artist Contour brand. Oh my gosh. I think I got it through BoxyCharm. Could have been Ipsy, I'm not sure. Alright, we're coming in and we're just highlighting those areas like I did last time. I just kind of want a mix of colors, so I've got purple and I've got this nice white gold color on top of it. Okay. And then like an added bonus if you want to do this. You don't have to do this. I have a nice it's Ciate London. It's just a creamy eyeshadow. You can do it with a powder eyeshadow. Primarily I always do it with powder eyeshadow, but I'm going to use the cream one just because this one's super beautiful. I'm going to come right in to that area right there, and we're going to dot. I'm going to blend mine out. If you use a brush or if you want to use your finger, just blend it out a little bit. We're going to bring some highlight, just like we did for our cheekbones. We're going to bring it to that little crease right there. Okay, my chairs are very squeaky here. Now we are going to do our eyebrows. I like to take a nice clean eyebrow brush just because I've got, as you can see, they're very light right now. Got a lot of powder, got a lot of product in them. I like to come in and just brush them out, wake them up, let them know what way they're supposed to go. A lot of times this helps me brush out the product that's in them. Okay, and so we're gonna come in with an NYX Professional Makeup Micro Brow Pencil. It's just a crayon pencil. I have used this one various times. Again, NYX and Maybelline tend to be my favorite across the board as far as Walmart or drugstore products. I I've used many over my lifetime, and these tend to be my favorite. I have several other ones, but I always come back to these guys. It's just a nice little pencil, just very thin. And so what I'm gonna do, as you can see, just naturally, we're pretty light on eyebrow up here, and it tends to get darker in here. So what I'm gonna do is come in with nice light strokes along the hairline that would typically grow, and just fill it in a little bit. Now we are not doing coloring. You're not gonna color in between the line and make sure everything is solid and perfect. That's too much. We just wanna kind of add a little tone to whatever is already there and just darken it a bit. So I'm gonna come in and just lightly start drawing into the eyebrows. And you'll slowly start to see them get darker. But I draw with the hairline. I like to move around a lot. I don't like to create perfect lines. That's not me. My eyebrows are kind of everywhere. Anyways, most people are. But if you want perfect lines, that's completely up to you. As you can see, you're seeing more definition than over here, but I still haven't yet brought it over here yet. I wait so last to do that. So you're gonna go through and you're gonna get the shape that you want, the color that you want, the definition. I've got some areas that are a little gappy. And once you've got that, then you're gonna come into the front, start at the bottom very lightly, and just tap up. So this way we went this way with the hair, but as you can see, the hairs right here like to grow up. So we're gonna go up with them, starting at the base. So I start at the base, right where the rest of my hairs are, and I go up. To finish things off with a powder. That's a personal preference, just like a setting powder. When I say I get oily everywhere. It does not just happen on my eyelids and my face, it happens on my eyebrows sometimes too. And so I like to use a powder very lightly. We'll get some, blow it out. I have just a brush for mine. And I'll come in. I stay away from that tip part again. I'm just going to go from about the middle on, and I'm going to slowly just apply some powder to those gaps. Alright, so now that we've got our mascara on, again, you can't really see it on here. I can tell in my mirror though. It really just gives it like a nice clean finish to the look. So now that we've done that, we are on to probably the most fun and most complex part of it. It's a little daunting to me, but we're gonna do it, and we're gonna do it with courage. All right, let me clean off my mirror because I've got a bunch of powder on it. Here we go. Okay, for this step, you are going to need a cream eyeshadow. If you have a cream eyeshadow like in a container, that's probably preferable. I do not have that. I don't use a cream white eyeshadow very often. I do sometimes underneath my eyes just to give me a little bit of a highlight under there. But I just have the NYX. Again, I keep saying this. I love this brand. I have their cream eyeshadow. I feel like it does a good job. It goes far. So this is the one that I use. I also bought their liquid liner, and it just comes out and goes to a point. So we're going to be doing both, but we're going to start with our cream. So what we're going to do is we're going to bring up our cream. We are doing clouds. I know, doesn't that sound so fun? So many things, you know, negatively are happening around us. It's scary, and sometimes it's fun to just take a step out of that and dive in, do something creative, and this is what we're going to do today. So we're going to do some clouds on our cheeks, all right? So as you'll see, I'm going to start with this just to create the base, the background look. It gives me the outline of what I'm going for, as well as the background shading. I might come in later with it as well. So here we go. So I do just the basic, simple kind of outline of what I want. I might do just a smaller one above it. To me, I know it's going to be a smaller one. To you, right now, it might just look like I'm extending the current cloud that I have. So we're just going to extend that out a little bit. I'm also going to do one more up here. Clouds in our pink little sky that we created. So now we're going to do this side. If you want, you can match it exactly. I'm not going to. I'm going to make both sides just a little bit different just to add, you know, just some fun. Alright. So now that I've got that, and if you're afraid of blending, I've got a little bit pink. So I'm going to clean that off later because I'm kind of a perfectionist, but just know you're going to get a little bit of pink in it, and that's going to be perfectly okay because these are just nice cascading clouds in a pink sky, okay? Now I'm going to come in with my white. It's okay if you want to use a more defined, thinner white pencil. If yours is like really thin and you can just do all of it, if you want to use a brush and maybe blend it in, do however you want. If you want to just do this and have nice wispy clouds, do that. Again, perfectionist, I'm going to come in with this and I'm going to add a little definition to things. By definition, I purely just mean coming in and adding those little, you know that wider line around the edge that we sometimes see whenever we see someone drawing a cloud? I come in and add those lines. I add the tuft marks so you can truly see the tufts in there.